My social work friend, have you been in the game for a while? Are you feeling burned out? Have you been experiencing some compassion fatigue? Are you overworked and underpaid? Would you like to have more time, financial, and career freedom? Well, it's you. Yes, that's right, my social work friends. I hate to say it, but you are the reason you're feeling burned out, experiencing compassion fatigue, overworked, underpaid, and have not started that journey towards more financial, time, and career freedom. You're the reason. Now, I'm not blaming you for this, but I did want to point out that if you want to change these things, you're going to have to take responsibility because you are holding yourself back, my friend. But of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging. So in this video, I am going to explain why you're doing this. So meet me over at the computer and let's get into it. Welcome back, my friends. If you are new here, my name is Michelle, and on this channel, I show social workers how to go from being overworked and underpaid to owning their entire 24 hours as an entrepreneur by starting a digital online business. So if that's something that you might find interesting, go ahead and subscribe. Be sure to like this video and hit the bell icon so you are notified every time I make a new upload. Okay, so let's get right into why you're doing this, why you're holding yourself back, and really essentially limiting your potential. Now, it's not your fault. It is totally not your fault. Now, there's a popular analogy about fleas in a jar. Have you heard about it? Because I'll be honest, I had not heard anything about this until recently when I was watching a video by 19 Keys. Now, he is a content creator here on YouTube that I watch regularly. You know, as an entrepreneur, I definitely try and feed myself as much knowledge as possible. And so 19 Keys has a channel where he talks about high-level conversations and he puts out excellent content. And not too long ago, I was watching a video over there, and he was talking about this experiment that was conducted on fleas in a jar. And this experiment, you know, when they conducted it, the outcomes of this experiment led to a lot of analogies, or one popular analogy that talks about people limiting their potential. And they really correlated to like paradigms and worldviews and mindsets. And so let me tell you the story about these fleas in a jar. So the way the story goes is that fleas can jump extremely high. Now, if you put them in a transparent jar, they literally can jump out of the jar. That's how high they can jump. So this experiment that was being conducted by these people who wanted to see what would happen if they put these fleas in a jar and put a transparent lid on it, did just that. So they put the fleas in a jar and then they observed their behavior. And just as they thought, these fleas would jump extremely high until they would jump out of the jar. Now, they had a hypothesis, of course. We all understand the scientific method. They had a hypothesis. And so to test this hypothesis, they put a transparent lid on the jar because they wanted to see what would happen with this lid on the jar. So just as they suspected, after putting the lid on the jar, the fleas continued to jump extremely high. However, because this transparent lid was on the jar, every time the fleas jumped, they would hit the transparent lid. Now, when I went out after watching 19 Keys and I went out to pull this up online and I actually found it, I like to think of this process as the grooming phase, right? So these scientists wanted to find out what behaviors these fleas would exhibit, and so they put this lid on, and the fleas kept hitting the lid every time they jumped. And so I like to call this the grooming phase, because what happened was, after a while, the fleas stopped hitting the lid. They literally only flew at the level, right? The level that was high enough for them to where they wouldn't hit that transparent lid. And so after having the fleas in the jar under these conditions for a while, the people conducting the experiment removed the lid. Now, can you imagine what happened after they removed the lid? Now, keep in mind, this transparent lid was gone, But what happened was these fleas have been groomed to only go but so high. And that's what they had in their mind. And not only did they have it in their mind, they actually transfer that over to their offspring. And so again, their offspring will only fly at level. Even though they had the ability to jump out of this jar, they just didn't do it anymore. Now, the reason for this is because of that grooming period, right? That grooming period where these people conducting the experiment really made these fleas believe that they couldn't go any higher than that invisible lid. And for a lot of us, you know, we're all kind of flying at level based on some transparent or invisible boundary that we've set for ourselves, or that, you know, we've let people and their narrative set for us. So for example, when I started my MSW program, I remember literally like the first or the second day or sometime in that first week of classes, I remember going into classes and professors telling me, listen, social workers don't make any money. I remember talking to social work friends and they were like, don't go into this profession expecting to make any money. And the reason why people are sharing that narrative, the reason why people believe in that narrative is because it's been spoken throughout the social work history, right? I talk to older people who are in social work, they say this. I talk to people even older than them, they say the same thing. But I remember when I started my program, I was like, but why? Why is this a thing, right? Now, I get that there's agencies out there, they're nonprofits, they have a limited amount of money to work with, right? They're working off of grants, they're working off of all of these things. And a lot of these agencies serve vulnerable populations, right? So they just surely don't have the money. But there's this narrative that, you know, you can only do this thing, or that you can only do one thing at a time. Another narrative that's popular out there is that when social workers want to start an entrepreneurial journey, they think that the only entrepreneurial journey that they can start is a clinical private practice. And this couldn't be further from the truth. But because that narrative has been delivered so often, this is what a lot of you guys are doing, right? A lot of people in the social work profession are only doing clinical private practice as their entrepreneurial journey. They believe that this is the only way for them to make more money. And what a lot of them do is they leave community mental health, or they leave the agency or the hospital or wherever they were working, and they go into private practice and they still work a lot of these hours. They have heavy caseloads because they need to make the money, and they want to make more money, and they kind of translate this behavior over to their private practice. And I remember when I was working in the insurance field with clinicians in private practice, a lot of them just felt that this was how they had to do it. Like they had to mirror community mental health. Now, there's a number of reasons that this is the case. For one, they don't teach us in grad school anything about entrepreneurship. And for two, it's because they've been delivered this narrative so long and so often, it has every social worker flying at the level. So just like the fleas in that transparent jar who are no longer performing to their full potential because they believe that invisible lid is still there. They believe that they're going to continue to hit that lid and not be able to move forward. It's the same with social workers. You guys really believe that that invisible lid is there. That invisible lid that professors have given you, other social workers have given you, the world at large has given you. And you literally have to do a mindset shift to get from under that invisible lid, essentially. Because really, it's this damn invisible lid that's holding you back. It's holding you back from making more money. It's holding you back from really having the career and future career that you would like to have, right? I mean, think about it. I talked about in this video right here, in my 7-figure social worker movement video, I talked about 3 narratives that social workers are given. One of them is the honorable social worker, right? So it's honorable and you're given accolades for like working with vulnerable populations for your entire career. You know, people will say, oh, she's so devoted, or oh, he's so devoted. Another one is really just believing that if you decide to go out and make money or have a desire to make money, that you're betraying the field of social work, which is amazing to me, again, because other professions, other professionals who get an advanced degree, they expect to come out and make money. But the narrative in their program is, you're going to go out and you're going to make good money. And they're not shamed for trying to set up businesses that are, you know, whether it's in their profession or outside of their profession. This is something that I have seen really inside of the social work field. I mean, keep in mind, I have another master's degree in creative studies. And with that degree, it's funny because I have people I graduated with who will go out to a corporation and do a 90-minute creative problem solving session, and they're charging $35,000 for that 90-minute session, right? And when I tell people I have a master's in creativity and creative studies, they're like, what is that? It sounds like a nothing degree, but it's not a nothing degree. People out here are helping people, really get clear on ideas, because that's what creative problem solving is. A lot of times we can go into organizations and help them problem solve, whether it's for a product, whether it's for a service, whether it's for rapport within the company, regardless of what it is, whatever it is that they have to change, we have a process that we take them through. Now, we don't really get into content. The process is the process, and it helps them drill down on ideas. But when I was graduating school, we were encouraged to charge our worth for this service, right? Now, of course, we're talking about for-profit corporate America as opposed to nonprofit agency. But you don't have to depend on an agency or a job or even clinical private practice to get you there. But again, because you've been flying at level under that invisible lid, this is just what you believe, and it's literally holding you back from operating in your full potential as a social work entrepreneur. It really is. So I want you to think about what invisible lids are holding you back. What narratives have you been given that have placed an invisible lid over your transparent jar, right? Where are you not jumping to? Where are you not going to? Where are you not elevating to? Because you've been groomed to believe that all you can do is fly at the level, which is a total lie, right? And the only way to shift this narrative is to break out of it, is to do something different. Oftentimes when I talk to social workers about starting a digital online business or having time, financial, and career freedom, they look at me like I have three heads. Well, I get two types of social workers. I get the social workers who look at me that like I have three heads, and then I get the other social workers who are like, tell me more, right? So we have our social workers who are flying at the level because they believe in this invisible lid. And then we have our other social workers who, even though the invisible lid was placed on them or people tried to place that invisible lid, they didn't buy into it. And your girl is one of those people. I remember sitting in class. Now, keep in mind, when I started my social work program, I was 41 years old, and I was sitting in class with a lot of 22-year-olds, a lot of 23-year-olds. And while age doesn't determine wisdom, what I do know is the younger you can give people a narrative, the more likely it is for them to adopt and believe in that narrative. The narrative being the invisible lid, limiting your potential, limiting beliefs, right? And so what do you need to do to break through that invisible lid? Did you even realize that you had an invisible lid? Well, if you didn't realize it, hopefully this video helped illuminate why you are overworked and underpaid. You're overworked and underpaid simply because you're buying into the narrative. You're buying into the belief that you can't go any further, that you can't do more, that you can't make money, or that you shouldn't make money, or that you shouldn't have a desire to make money, or a digital online business isn't going to work for you, or all of the things, right? All of the things. And it's really that part right there. The fact that it's been put out there for so long that you didn't even know that the invisible lid was placed on you, that you didn't even realize you were going through the grooming process. So, if you want to stop limiting your potential, there's a few things you can do. You can watch my videos and start to learn more about starting a digital online business and how it can help you. I'm going to link to a playlist in the description box below that's going to walk you through the benefits of a digital online business, what a digital online business actually is, and a host of other resources as far as my videos that you can watch to really tell you more about that if you have not watched them already. And after watching that, if you want to stop limiting your full potential, the full potential that you can have as a social worker. And I'm not saying that if you're in clinical private practice that you need to leave clinical private practice, right? A lot of us love it. I don't love clinical private practice, but a lot of people love it. I have a friend, Karen, she loves it, right? But you don't have to do, that's not the only thing you have to do. And definitely don't go into private practice to still work the same amount of hours that you were doing at the agency or in community mental health or at the hospital or wherever you were working, right? You paid your dues. You did what you had to do to get your licensure, right? And to get the designation and to learn the things. You've done all of that. And when you go into private practice, it really is meant for you to have more time, financial, and career freedom. But if you're billing insurance, that's not going to happen. Even if you're private pay, that's not necessarily going to happen. And addition to that, in order to make more money using that framework, you have to trade more time for that money. So where's the time freedom, right? A digital online business, though, can absolutely change that for you, because what happens is you create a product and you can leverage platforms like YouTube and podcasts and social media for longevity of, people finding that product. It really is, amazing what you can do, especially with a podcast and YouTube. And so it definitely is a great idea, even if you're in clinical private practice, to create an additional stream of revenue selling digital products. And let me tell you, digital products are here and they're here to stay. I was reading recently on some research sites that produce information and data trends about e-learning and digital online businesses. And what I found was that right now, the digital online business is like a $254 million a day business. But by the year 2027, it is going to be a $4.9 trillion a day business. And there is so much time for you to get into the game and really, leverage your skills, knowledge, talents, and areas of expertise to help people solve a problem, relieve a pain, or fulfill a desire. Because essentially that's what a business does. And you can absolutely leverage that. You can leverage your skills, knowledge, talents, and areas of expertise to bring in scalable revenue. And when I say scalable, meaning I have YouTube videos that I produced last year that people still watch, click on, and they buy my digital product. So I did something once and I make money on it over and over again. Another way that I do this is writing on Medium. I just recently started writing on Medium again, but I went 3 years without writing on Medium, and guess what? Articles I wrote 4 or 5 years ago, I still get paid for every single month. I just got paid last month for these articles that I wrote years ago, and I get paid every single month. Yes, there is a phase of your career when you're getting your clinical hours and when you're learning that you have to do this, right? Everybody has to start somewhere, but you absolutely don't have to stay there. And if you do, it's a choice. Now, it might be a choice you make because that's just what you want to do. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. But these typically are not the people who are complaining about being burned out, experiencing compassion fatigue, or complaining about being overworked and underpaid. So, I hope you got something from this video. I hope that you stop flying at the level, and I hope that you can realize your full potential. And if you'd like to learn more about starting a digital online business, I have a free training entitled How to Shift from Social Work Employee to Digital Entrepreneur Like a Pro. And I'll go ahead and link to that training in the description box below. Go ahead and check it out. And until next time, this is your girl Michelle saying, stop waiting. The time is now. Start your digital online business. Bye for now.